And well, there it is, as well as all the recovered stuff. It's annoying because I know for a fact there was one mission that he took 15 hexanon off me, but as expected, it's not everything that is taken off you. One spinning weapon that I've actually heard is pretty rubbish compared to a lot of other ones that are out there. But to each their own. So all the way down here, equip, then go and find the original version of this, because this does have an original version. It is not a new weapon. So you can see, actually we'll do this the other way, down at the bottom. One on the right is the Kuva version of the one on the left. Accuracy, junk. Crit, little bit better even, but the multiplier is less. The magazine is bigger, the reload is quicker, the status is more. The impact, puncture and slash is actually more. Wow. I think that's a first, considering every other one, every Kuva variant I've come across to this point has been worse damage-wise. Its burst fire is, well, better in every way because it has a burst fire to it. Which, according to this, the base one doesn't have. So, of course, everything there is going to be better. Comparing the burst to the primary, though, it all seems to be about the same, apart from the status is a little bit lower and the crit is higher. There's the crit damage I was looking for before, 2.3. I wish that was there. If this had 31% on the full auto with the 2.3 times multiplier, this could be a good gun. Please don't have two polarities in you. Oh, come on. If you have to former these 5 times, it doesn't need to come with two polarities to it. It just means once you've put 5 in there, you will end up with one slot that hasn't been formatted. And if you are kind of one of those people who has to make sure that you don't leave that one slot, yeah, you're going to end up putting a 6th one in this. And it needs one or none. Have these come with none, that would be so much better. But of course, because they are not tradable, there's no worry about doing that to double the points, to start leveling this thing up all the way to 40, because like the rest of them, you got former at 5 times. The thing is about the Kuva Quartakk is its normal fire mode is full auto, shooting from the hip. As soon as you aim down sights, it turns into a burst weapon. It is quite good at being an auto rifle. It is also quite good at being a burst rifle. The trick is you aim down sight after starting to shoot from the hip, so it's full auto, and as long as you keep firing, you can aim while it's shooting full auto, and it will continue to shoot full auto. As soon as you stop, you will start shooting burst fire while aiming down sight. It worked weirdly the first time round. This time round, well, it works exactly the same. It is pretty hard to get used to, but it is a great, I don't want to say perk or passive. It is a great secondary fire mode because you can still aim while shooting full auto as long as you remember to start firing before you aim. And if you stop, you just gain this quite a lot of damage dealing burst fire. Because it has the 31% crit chance with a 2.3 times multiplier for crit on the burst, you kind of want to build this for crit. Because even full auto, it has a 21% crit chance. Though, ooh, that 1.9 times crit multiplier does let it down pretty badly. But with a 33% status chance in full auto and a 27% status chance in burst, ooh, it's one of those weapons that you kind of want to build it a little for crit and a little for status. Or you just go completely nuts and you throw in Point Strike and Vital Sense, and everything else you basically have elemental. Because If I'd actually format these two instead of this being the corrosive damage, it's actually not even coming up on this. There it is. Little bit more on the corrosive side than the blast side, considering the only thing actually creating the blast. I've just realised I actually have heat in here with Rime rounds, so the inert fire damage it has been increased, added to cold damage, and it's still giving less than these two mods. But it has an 82% status chance with a 77.5% crit chance. I would strongly recommend possibly taking this off because you don't need a lot of blast damage. It's only on there because this thing happened to have fire. If yours has some other elemental perk, then you wouldn't be running the same kind of elemental combo. But Vital Sense, Point Strike help a lot. Serration, Split Chamber, Auto Fire. To be honest, Split Chamber and Serration go on pretty much every primary anyway, but that, yeah. Kind of wish I'd thrown Argon Scope in this. Could have thrown on, what is it people keep using? Hunter Munitions, which adds a percentage to apply slash on critical, because with Argon Scope on here, this thing will, on burst fire, crit a lot. It crits a lot anyway. It is really good at dealing that crit damage and status at the same time. I wish that I hadn't gone more elemental with this and gone with Vigilant Armaments, maybe also, what was it, Vigilant Offense, because the two together will add a 10% chance to enhance crit hits. You could also throw in Bladed Rounds, but to be honest, Vital Sense and Point Strike, and I've gone through this many times. Argon Scope has a 150% chance. That's not 150, is it? It was, I think it was 135%. But only if you land a headshot and only for 9 seconds. So, Vital Sense, Point Strike, 150% crit chance. Argon Scope, 135% crit chance. If you can only fit one, Point Strike. If you can fit both though, Argon Scope will of course stack on top of it, so that is increased crit chance. Bladed Rounds, same kind of thing. Vital Sense will do 120% crit damage all the time. Bladed Rounds, it's only on kill. So those mods, people keep asking why I don't use them so much. If I'm building a weapon solely for crit, I will. But this thing has just enough elemental damage that I threw an elemental combo into this, and it works much better than having Argon Scope. I actually took Argon Scope off, but I would probably put it back in because, I don't know, I'd probably put Thermite rounds in instead of Argon Scope and just forgot to swap it back if I'm being honest. But that's the build I had while doing the actual footage, so that's the build I was using. And it worked really well. As I mentioned before, the full auto shooting from the hip from this is pretty accurate. The fact that when you aim, that's what activates the secondary fire mode, I always liked about it. I've never really liked those weapons where you have a secondary fire mode, but you have to swap to a secondary fire mode. It doesn't just have the secondary fire mode, but it activates when you aim down sight. Or I do, and I will admit this, wish it was reversed. So aiming from the hip was a burst fire, but when you aim down sight it was full auto, because I like auto rifles. But it would have ruined this weapon. The fact that aiming down the sight, and that will be the reason that I also had Eagle Eye in here, because aiming down the scope will add a 40% zoom from Eagle Eye, I think. Should probably have checked that one. But it just allowed you to aim that little bit better, and it's also why I didn't bother throwing heavy caliber in. Yes, that will add another 165% damage. If you are using this for short range, that is great. If you are using the aim down sight burst fire, yeah, the minus 55% accuracy does get ruined by that. I tried it, Yes, it does more damage, but you will end up missing quite a bit with it. So leaving that out and just throwing the full-on 90% elemental mods just increase the damage so much that now if you were to throw heavy caliber in instead of that thermite rounds, it actually does just a little bit more damage. But I would much rather have the ability to hit an enemy than to fire multiple times and hope to hit an enemy, because that happens. If you throw heavy caliber in, your accuracy just goes to poop, and it kind of ruins this weapon, because the fact that you aim down sight for the burst is great. The fact that it has been improved for the Kuva version just a little bit is also great. Like all the Kuva weapons though, you do have to fulmer it 5 times. This was one that I didn't mind doing that too though. There has been a few that has been kind of annoying on, like the Kuva Quartakk. Yeah, that was quite time consuming and annoying. This, not so much. I've been using this for a fair few days in a row now, and I've never taken it off because I'm going against higher level enemies. It's just, oh, it can handle them, we'll just leave it equipped. It doesn't have a lens on it, so I will eventually be taking it back off. Obviously, there's just too many weapons to leave it on for now, but this is one I will definitely be coming back to because it just worked so well. I cannot stress that enough. The aiming down the sight with the auto fire already going, and it's still doing the auto fire and not swapping instantly to the burst fire, really was one of the saving factors to this weapon. If you aim down the sight and it automatically swapped to burst fire, I don't think I would have liked this as much. The fact you can keep the auto fire going and still aim the auto fire so you can have the range to it, yes, it means you are going to be wasting ammo because you can't stop firing unless you stop aiming and then re-aim after you start firing again. But if you stop firing because you're shooting something at range, the burst fire, probably better than going full auto anyway. I actually kind of fell in love with this weapon, which is really weird because it's not like it's one of the easiest ones to get. Even the standard one is quite a pain to actually get to drop. But anyway, we'll leave this off here for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.